Alright, scientists, so let's have a look at the precautions we need to take in a forensic laboratory. So, procedural TV shows are quite big at the moment, and this is what a forensics team looks like in TV. Remember, TV's pretend, it's fiction. This is what it looks like in reality, and reality, it turns out, is much more sciencey looking. So, what are the precautions that need to be taken? Basically, this is something that will affect people's future. So it needs to be accurate. It is really, really important. We're not talking like it affects your future in a little way. We're talking about spending the rest of your life in jail. The quality assurance in this ensures that the correct use of scientific methods. Okay, so we need to have people checking the work to make sure that it's done appropriately and that strict protocols are followed. These protocols are both ones that we know work scientifically as well as ones that are followed for reliability and validity, but also to make sure there's no tampering. So they must not be contaminated during collection, and that's part of the reason for the outfits you saw in the previous thing. And the storage, so during contamination or storage or analysis, as it can lead to incorrect conclusions. So at every step along the way, whether it's collection, storage, or analysis, and then storage afterwards for later, it needs to be made sure that it's looked after the right way. And part of doing this is that we have a clean and effective laboratory conditions. Because if we don't have these, we can end up with contaminated samples, and it's a really, really big and poor thing to have happen. So again, we see the outfit that you're wearing over here, and you can see there's actually very little skin. With that, this guy would still have to give a DNA sample, because even with just this small amount here, his DNA is contaminating the scene of the crime. But suitable clothing needs to be worn. The area needs to be closed off from the public. Photographic evidence is needed, and measurements are taken. The photographic evidence often has two purposes. One is to remind us what it looks like. The other is to have The other is to have to give everything some context. There'll often be rulers placed down to give a bit of size and so forth. And it needs to be stored. Everything needs to be stored in a manner to preserve conditions. So not only is it not contaminated, we need to store it in a way that stops it from reacting with stuff in the environment. So we'd actually keep it in a dark place, a cool place. And remember, if it's cold, it will have less energy to react with stuff in the environment. If it's dark, there'll be less UV light, and therefore less energy to react with the environment. And samples that contain carbon, because of the volatile reactions that carbon can have, called off-gassing or degassing, will need to be collected in a vapor-tight container. One last thing are the chalk outlines. They're really popular in TV and movies, but it's important to know that they're not a thing. If you were to draw a chalk outline around a body, it would contaminate the scene in a major way. So what is actually done is photographs are taken. Anyway, I hope that made a lot of sense. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. We'll get back to you as quick as we can. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye now.